So something very unusual just happened this week. Two members of the CCP's Politburo have swapped their jobs. Yes, literally switched roles while still in office. Shi Taifeng, who was head of the United Front Work Department, also the top ranked vice chairman of the CPPCC, is now the new head of the organization department. And then the other official, Li Ganjie, has taken over Shi's old job at the United Front. A direct job swap between two sitting Politburo members is unprecedented. It has never happened since the founding of the PRC in 1949. It's a first in the CCP's history. But what does this swap actually mean? Is it just reshuffling, or does it suggest that Xi Jinping's authority inside the party is weakening? The answer is that the first job swap in CCP's history signals upcoming political storms. Xi Jinping might have lost the power to dictate personnel changes, and the storm currently sweeping across China's military may soon reach the civilian side. Rumor has it that the vice chairman of CMC, Zhang Youxia, and some party elders are behind the dramatic personnel change. The Central Organization Department has historically been a stepping stone to the Politburo Standing Committee, which is the highest governing body of the CCP. It's at the top of the food chain. Since 1975, a bunch of former heads of the organization department have climbed all the way up to the standing committee, such as Hu Yaobang, Qiao Shi, Wei Jianxing, Song Ping, He Guoqiang, Zheng Qinghong, Zhao Leji. So all these officials served as the organization department heads before making it to the top. Meanwhile, not a single United Front department head has made it to the standing committee in all that time. That comparison alone tells you this isn't just a random job swap. It's a power play, right? That's not just reshuffling. Whoever's taken over the stronger role is clearly getting a power boost, and the other one got a demotion. Let's take a look at the two men who are swapping their jobs. Let's talk about Li Ganjie first. So prior to the stroke rumors about Xi Jinping that surfaced in July last year, after the third plenum, three key officials had frequently accompanied Xi Jinping on domestic tours. They are Cai Qi, Xi's executive admin in party affairs, He Lifeng, the vice premier in charge of the economy, and Li Ganjie, the head of organization department. Cai Qi and He Lifeng would occasionally be absent. Li Ganjie was almost always present with Xi Jinping. However, after the third plenum last July, when Xi Jinping was rumored to have suffered a stroke, Li Ganjie has not appeared during many of Xi's inspection tours, including the recent one to Yunnan and Guizhou. Therefore, some people say Li Ganjie's being replaced is almost certainly connected to Xi's own loss of control, and the two developments are likely influencing each other. Now that Li is demoted, it may well signal that Xi Jinping's faction has lost its grip on personnel power. But some people may argue, this isn't Shi Taifeng, the former head of the United Front Work and the new head of HR? Isn't he also promoted by Xi Jinping and a Xi affiliate? Doesn't that mean that Xi Jinping still controls personnel decisions? Well, Xi is not a die-hard member of the Xi faction. His background is more complex. He graduated from Beijing University and was a classmate of the late former premier Li Keqiang. And in 1985, he began working at the Central Party School. And then in July 2001, he was appointed VP of the school. Now, from 1993 to 2003, Hu Jintao served as the school's president. And then from 2007 to 2012, the school's president was Xi Jinping. So Shi Taifeng worked directly under both of them, 10 years under Hu Jintao and 3 years under Xi Jinping. So you see, he had a longer time working for Hu than Xi. His promotion to VP was under Hu Jintao's time. So it was obviously approved by Hu Jintao, right? Now, the difference between these two officials is this. So unlike Li Ganjie, who is a diehard loyalist to Xi Jinping, Shi Taifeng is well-rounded and has better relations with other senior leaders. So in addition to Hu Jintao, Shi Taifeng is also said to have maintained good relations with the Jiang Zemin faction and Zheng Qinghong, the de facto leader of the old Jiang Zemin faction, right? And in the past 2 years, Shi has been very close to Politburo Standing Committee member Wang Huning. Well, the significance of this job swap is that Xi Jinping has lost absolute control over personnel and no longer dictates appointment and dismissal of top party officials. We've seen the massive purge in the military. A similar political storm is on the rise on the civilian side. Shi Taifeng is put into the position to handle the upcoming major purges and personnel changes. So here's the question: who is pushing all these changes? Well, yesterday, two social media influencers reviewed information they received from their contacts inside Beijing about who is behind the personnel change and what happened at the Politburo meeting on March 31st. So, according to these two influencers, at the meeting on March 31st, Zhang Youxia and those Politburo members who have sided with him challenged Xi Jinping and asked him to explain why the officials he promoted all ended up having problems: corruption problems, loyalty problems. I think they refer to Qingang, Miao Hua, right? He Weidong, etc. Xi Jinping blamed it on his head of HR, Li Ganjie. Li took the blame and made self-criticism at the meeting. After the meeting, Zhang Youxia sent two guards to accompany Li Ganjie to his office in the name of protecting him. In the afternoon, Zhang Youxia and Xi Jinping had another meeting. Zhang brought with him two officials, and they are Shi Taifeng and the deputy minister of the organization department. His name is Jiang Xingzhi. Zhang Youxia asked Xi Jinping to pick either Shi or Jiang to be the next minister of the organization department, and Xi Jinping picked Shi Taifeng. And he asked Zhang Youxia not to arrest Li Ganjie. Zhang was concerned that arresting Li would cause a political earthquake. So he agreed to have the two officials swap their job. This is the story behind the job swap. And according to one source, the three big shots or the three big bosses behind Zhang Youxia want to remove Xi Jinping's loyalists in key positions and replace them with their people. And Zhang Youxia was the one who executed this. I have no way of verifying the story, but it certainly explains why we saw an unprecedented job swap. Well, if you examine Xi Jinping's power, it's based on a structure of three pillars: the military, party affairs, and foreign affairs. Unfortunately, all three are crumbling. The sudden downfall of Foreign Minister Qin Gang was the beginning of a major political setback for Xi. And the fall of the two defense ministers, the rocket force commander, Miao Hua, and now He Weidong, is another major setback for him. In the second pillar, the military. So these collapses are Xi Jinping's most painful unfinished business. Right now, the last of the three legs of his power tripod, party affairs, is also wobbling. With his loyal head of personnel gone, his power is seriously challenged.